welcome to my channel. This is an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. If you haven't already subscribed, please feel free to do so, and don't forget to click the little bell so that you'll get notified of future videos. Please feel free to share my videos on your social media, and I hope you enjoy the video which follows. Well, as the title indicates, I'm going to make a bread pudding using some of my panettone. Thank you to one of my subscribers, Sally, for telling me that that's what she really likes. It sounded so good I've got to give it a try, I guess. So I've taken a chunk of panettone that I think will be enough to fill that casserole anyway. I'm just going to cut it into roughly inch cubes or so. No link to a recipe down below, it's just off the top of my head a bread pudding, but if you want to Google bread puddings, there are dozens of them out there. Just select one that you like, and instead of regular bread, use panettone. This has been really good, if I must say so myself. I've really enjoyed it. I guess I've just found another use for it. Haven't tasted this yet, but I know I'm going to like it. By the time this gets wet with the custard, it will settle back more into the casserole. Shouldn't be overflowing, I don't think, anyway. Well, let's get the custard put together. Well, I think I have everything that I need here. 3 large eggs would be enough for this kind of a custard. You see a lot more yolks in there than 3. I'm using up some of my bantam eggs. That's the size of them. Well, that's the size of the smaller ones, actually. There were some that were a bit larger than that, so I've put 7, I think, in there. And you could use white sugar, or you could use half brown and half white. I'm using a half cup of brown sugar. And I think probably most people use cinnamon, but I prefer nutmeg. Nutmeg in apple pies too. It's just what I grew up with, I guess. We didn't use cinnamon as much in my house as we used nutmeg, so it's become my go-to spice. I love it in eggnog too. So that's a decent amount, I guess, of nutmeg. 2 cups of milk. You could use a light cream. I'm just using whole milk. And I think most recipes would probably use vanilla, and that's probably what I would have used a week or 2 ago. I've recently discovered orange extract and I love it. So I'm putting a teaspoon, or almost a teaspoon, 3/4 of a teaspoon of orange extract in there to give it a nice orange flavor. Now to put the panettone in and let it soak up the custard. I'll leave that for a bit and let it absorb all or most of the liquid. Bring you back in just a second here. I absorbed a lot of the custard, but if I press down on it you can see that there's lots of custard just below the surface there. I've preheated the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I like to put a little melted butter, that's 2 tablespoons of melted butter over the surface. Normally I would add raisins to my bread pudding, but the panettone has got raisins and the candied fruit and peel in it already, so that isn't necessary. So I think 40 to 45 minutes at 350 degrees, and I'll bring you back and show you what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. Well, it's just out of the oven and piping hot, too hot to eat. You can either serve this warm or at room temperature, or for that matter, cold right out of the refrigerator if you have leftovers. It's delicious no matter how you serve it. At least the regular bread pudding is. I can hardly wait to try this one. Wait till it cools down a bit. It's too hot to eat right now. And if you're going to do this, you may want to put your casserole in a sheet pan or something in case it bubbles over. This started to bubble over, and I quickly put a sheet pan on the rack below it, so fair warning there, I guess. Well, I'll bring you back when this is cool enough to give it a try. Well, this is still quite hot, but I can't wait any longer. I don't think I mentioned this was in the oven for an hour. I think I said 40 to 45 minutes. Well, the amount of custard that I had in it and the depth or whatever of the casserole, it just wasn't cooking fast enough, so I left it for an hour. But that just depends on what casserole you're using and how much custard is there. You just judge it on your own, I guess, as to when the custard is done. I like to get the corner because there's always some crispier bread in the corners. That is still very hot with the steam coming out of it. My, it looks good, especially with all the raisins and fruit and whatever. I don't want to burn my mouth here. Oh my, yeah. You were right, Sally. That is very good. And I can certainly taste the orange. The panettone had orange concentrate in it. And then I added about 3/4 teaspoon to this. So it has a lovely orange flavor, along with the raisins and all the candied peel and everything. I certainly, when I have panettone in the future, I'll make sure I save some of it to make a bread pudding. Yeah. Whether you are buying your panettone or making your own, I hope you buy enough to try the bread pudding. It's excellent. Well, I'll get this put together and uploaded. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you give this a try and let me know if you do what you think of it.